I mean, independent people-led media is more important than it's ever been, and I think more under threat than it's ever been. We're taking a fight at the moment to the most powerful people, and the only way that they can keep a hold on politicians, and the way that they can continue this sort of business as usual in the face of some of the most extreme crises and extremely, sort of horrifying events that are happening in the world. The only way that they can keep a hold on politicians is by politicians caring more about what's said about them in the media than what people actually think on the ground. And I think independent media helps get the truth out. The media is so influential on public opinion. We have to support, Green Left and other independent journalism that can actually take it to the big end of town. Now, as an environmentalist, but also a socialist, and as a human being, I really want to read about the truth, and I want to read, journalists like you have at Green Left that are actually trying to tell a story that is quite uncomfortable for the big end of town, but needs to be told. So yeah, I'm a big supporter, have been for ages, and yeah, we need more independent journalism, and that means supporting where we can with finances, but otherwise, in whatever way you can to make sure that we keep independent journalism alive in Australia.
The Green Left's been a major working class paper for working men and women, not just and the communities, not just here in Australia, but around the world. It's a paper that tells it how it is.
When we were picketing outside of Albanese's office, and before picketing, when we were meeting outside of Albanese's office, a bunch of mothers, nobody wanted to come and report on us. Nobody wanted to come and listen to what we were doing and why we were doing it. And the Green Left does exactly that. It reports on local grassroots events and movements who are joining the global solidarity for Palestine and all oppressed people. And so I think for me personally, having, a media outlet that is willing to listen to us and willing to report, and not just on Families for Palestine, but many, many other grassroots movements and groups who are doing excellent work in putting pressure on Albanese or their local MPs. I think that in itself gives us hope, knowing that there are media outlets that are willing to listen to us and willing to hear our side of the story and share that with the rest of the country.
When I came to look back on the issue of deaths in custody, and this is an issue that's been going on since colonisation, but a highlight was put on it in the 1990s, which led to the Royal Commission into deaths in custody. And, at one point, I really wanted to go back and look at what was the early history of the grassroots movements as it built towards the announcement of the Royal Commission. And the only place I could find this was in the archives of Green Left. And I think one of the really important things that Green Left does is to document the struggle.
Thank you for the Green Left, also my newsletter. It has been like a light in my life when I came here to Cairns. Wasn't expecting this, coming from more places that are more active like Geneva or working with the UNRWA. I think when Jonathan walked in the university with the Green Left in his hand and I saw articles about Palestine, it has an enormous effect on me, and that was really a moment. Maybe you don't appreciate what a newspaper may do for someone, but I kept it on my office for maybe quite a few months because I was so happy to see that.
Not only are you guys doing an excellent job at educating comrades in the Western world, in the Anglo world, but also for people like us here in Pakistan, it's a huge service because we don't have those large media apparatuses because of the certain conditions of the third world, in which we can connect to other countries or other movements in the global south. For example, India and Pakistan, we are neighbors, but we don't have good communication with left activists. In fact, some of the best conversations we've had with comrades from India was actually in Australia at some of your conferences, through some of your outlets. And this is the kind of communication that those in power feel threatened by. And that is why those communication, these kinds of communication need to be celebrated, they need to be protected, they need to be sustained, they need to be supported. And I'm sure other comrades from other parts of the world can also testify to that, that with all our differences, we're sometimes so mired in our own regional kind of situations that we need these kinds of instruments that are more global in perspective, that connects social movements together. So I want to thank you for that solidarity. You've also raised voice for many in the third world when they've been in trouble because of repressive governments. For us as well in Pakistan, I know We Left Weekly gave a lot of solidarity when there was a state crackdown against us. So I want to thank you for that, because that also gives strength to comrades here in Pakistan and elsewhere, that we have our comrades, that we have a media outlet who is looking out for us, who's willing to amplify our voices. And we hope to continue collaborating and supporting We Left Weekly in whatever way we can.
It seems like so much of the time that print news and left-wing news is a thing of the past, but I think we can see with things like Oniswar and Green Left, that's not the case. It's been really cool to hear from some older people in the movement today as well. I think I can definitely say that students and young people are equally invested in Green Left. And I think it is so important to have that activist media, which is on the ground engaging with activists, which is essential to humanize our movement, but also get the word out. It's not only is it getting to the right people, getting the right stories out there, but also providing an outlet for young people to get into journalism and to translate their activism into something material, something that can be shared and seen for years to come, which I think is really special.
I think we all know the story of further concentration of corporate control in media and government influence. And yeah, I mean, in our little corner of the airwaves at 3CR, generally, we run a full week schedule of programs that I suppose on paper may not all like get along, if that makes sense. And I think the real importance about grassroots media is to be able to accurately represent the patchwork of community voices as it stands in the community, which is something that the mainstream media is just absolutely failing to do. And further, I would say at the moment, making it seem like it's like a really fringe little group of lefties that feel a certain way. I think in particular, when we talk about radical or alternative media, it can be a really useful word, right, to distinguish from the mainstream. However, something that links both of the media that we make, whether that's written or radio format, is that it's simply just accurate reportage of widespread issues that affect the public. And both of us also have the link, I would say, of being accessible to the public to self-represent accurately and ethically in a media space. So I also just wanted to mention that this year we celebrate 10 years of affiliation with Green Left as an affiliate organisation of 3CR, which super proud of, absolutely love and champion, and just a really, crucial part of what we do every day to make the world a better place and to refocus all of our energies on, the greater cause with and between all of our communities.